Let's talk supply chain. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Supply Chain. So let's start with a question. Now, many companies have found themselves with towering tech stacks, unsure of the old systems they could just get rid of. So according to technical strategy and infrastructure expert Philip Rosley, what percentage of an organization's technology is made up of legacy systems? Well, I know a lot of companies have tied themselves up in knots when it comes to their tech. So I'm sure this figure isn't as low as it should be. But what do you think? Let me know your guesses over on social and keep listening because all will be revealed at the end of the show. So today, I am excited to welcome an award-winning industry leader to our Women in Supply Chain series. She's passionate about sharing her expertise and mentoring young women in the industry, and that is Annie. Now, Annie has been a driving force for efficiency and innovation in supply chain management for over 25 years. Over the course of her long career with Tecsys, Annie has spearheaded numerous transformative initiatives and served as a mentor for women, as well as being an invaluable member of her community. So today, Annie will be talking all about her career journey, her passion for innovation, the importance of balancing professional and social responsibility, and being named a trailblazer in the world of supply chain. But of course, we could not do this series without our sponsor. So Food Logistics and Supply and Demand Chain Executives Women in Supply Chain Award honors female supply chain leaders and executives whose accomplishments, mentorship, and examples set a foundation for women in all levels of a company's supply chain network. So go and check them out. They do a Woman in Supply Chain Award every year. They also have a Woman in Supply Chain Forum as well. And so welcome to the show, Annie.
Yes, Sarah. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. Now, I love this time of year. I always look forward to the Women in Supply Chain Forum because it introduces me to incredible women just like you. And it's so inspirational to hear about the big impact women in the industry are making. And I'm so proud to shine a light on your stories and experiences. So let's start at the beginning. You've got a computer science degree from overseas, I think, and then decided to come to Canada. What was that experience like for you?
Absolutely. So when I first came to Canada, I was really ready to embrace a new chapter in my life. Basically, I came looking for stability and security. I come from a region where stability is often uncertain. So getting a degree in computer science was in itself a significant achievement for me back then. But I knew that moving to the North America would give me those whole new list of opportunities that I could pursue. So it was really a big shift. There's no doubt about that. Like the weather was different, the pace of life was different, the people I met, but it all gave me new perspective on life. And, I was lucky to be able to ground myself in an environment and a community where which shared my values and my beliefs. So that transition was relatively easy, I must say.
Amazing.
No, plus the multicultural nature of Canada is also helpful because I met so many people with different backgrounds, and it was really an invaluable experience for me, both for my personal and professional growth.
Well, after we finish this recording, we're going to have to talk about where you are in Canada because I'm in Canada and I love showcasing Canadians on this show because I do spend a lot of time in the US. So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that you were able to make that transition to Canada. So now, as a developer, you dove straight into supply chain, first at Vera and then at Tecsys, where you still are today. Now, why supply chain? How did that opportunity come about? Was it maybe a conscious decision or maybe just a happy accident?
Yeah. Well, it was neither. I can't say it was a conscious decision nor a happy accident.
Okay.
Imagine. So the first time I was exposed to supply chain was when I joined Tecsys in 98. So imagine that the reason I joined was really the proximity of the Tecsys location to my house. I had started a family, so I wanted to reduce the commute time. So I go into Tecsys, And what a fulfilling journey it has been since, everything changed from there on. And then now it's so much more. I'm really happy. So throughout the years, with every feature we delivered, with every enhancement we did, I just realized how impactful and important it was, the job I was doing and that of my team, of course. And we were just bringing improvements here and there. And then I just realized that throughout the years, as I discovered the complexities and the global impact of supply chain, it just became a no-brainer for me. And I thought I'm going to stay in this industry and thrive. And years later, being an award winner just makes me realize that sometimes the most rewarding paths are the ones that we never plan to take.
Yes, I love that. The most rewarding are the paths that we never planned on taking. And supply chain is one of them. I mean, a lot of people now these days are planning a path into supply chain. But for a lot of us, we kind of just fell into supply chain. It grabbed a hold and we stayed in it. But you're so right. There's such a global impact to what we do on a day-to-day basis. And no day really is the same, no matter what area of supply chain that you're working in, because things are changing all the time.
Absolutely.
So now you're currently Vice President of Enhanced Business Solutions at Tecsys. So can you give us an overview of Tecsys, what you do, and how you help your customers?
Yes, absolutely. So we're a supply chain management software company, and we're based up here in Canada, just like you. We do a lot of business in the US, and we have an office in Europe in Copenhagen, and we've been around 40 years. Wow. Basically, we provide innovative solutions to our customers, and we help them streamline and optimize their processes, of course. And we're talking about comprehensive range of services like warehouse management, transportation management, distribution management, and so on. But as the market increasingly becomes complex, we focus on innovation and on efficiency to help organizations reach their new levels of operational performance. Mm-hmm. And we also do integration, including automation. We're going to talk about that for sure. So we expand the technology ecosystem of our customers and drive the operational excellence.
Amazing. Now, I don't think we can talk about technology without talking about automation.
Absolutely. You're so right.
Talk to me a little bit about your role, because I believe you've spearheaded some incredible initiatives and have kind of been the driving force within that innovation, but also helping to incorporate automation technology like mobile robots. I mean, that sounds like a really fun job. I don't know if you know this about me, but I've always wanted to dance with a robot, and I recently got a chance to dance with a robot at Manhattan's Momentum.
That's so talk
cool. About your role. I know, it was really cool.
And I want to start with, first of all, recognizing the contribution of everyone in the team. Really, they've been instrumental in delivering whatever we did together, and I have to thank them all. My team combines technical expertise and deep knowledge of warehouse operations. So we build interfaces, and we want to ensure that the automation technology that we integrate with our software is creating a seamless flow of goods from inbound to outbound. So it's really cool to be working with cutting edge technology. I don't know if I'm going to dance with the robot one day, but what a great idea.
I hope that you can. And then when you build that robot, Annie, you're going to give me a call and say, Sarah, come down to our facilities. We have a robot you can dance with.
Yeah, that's fun. It's a good idea. We'll see. But it's fun to see the direct impact of those innovation on businesses. Automation in itself is not a new concept, but there's such a rapid shift in the automation technology that it has become a game changer. And any company nowadays that needs to remain competitive has no choice but to deploy some kind of automation in their warehouses,
Yeah, but also I think for you as well, for you and your teams, you need to keep on top of, what technologies are out there, how you're going to innovate and integrate some of these new technologies into what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So you have to keep on top of what's going on too.
Constantly learning, constantly. And what we're doing here, we're talking about physical automation, okay? So the moving of the products within the warehouse. So mainly goods to person, you have someone in a workstation and the good is coming to you for picking, packing, and all those tasks, There's the traditional automation, the carousels, the conveyors, the sortation modules, and then the newer automation, the AMG, AGV, ASRS, there's too many acronyms.
What is that? You need to talk to us about these acronyms because I don't know what these acronyms are.
So autonomous mobile robots, automated guided vehicles, the vertical lift modules, the automated sorting and storage and retrieval systems. And now recently the cobots, the collaborative robots that are actually sharing the space with the material handlers and helping out with the picking, packing, sortation, and all that. So it's like giving your warehouse a caffeine boost and suddenly like everything is going much faster, It's more precise, more accurate, more efficient. So it's really, really rewarding to see it. I remember a friend of mine that was really concerned about how robots will come and, take our places and, but I think think about it like getting rid of all the redundancies, giving the heavy lift to the robots and you do the fun part of it. So it's cool. I really like it.
I can tell, like you are just so passionate about this. I actually also read recently in a book that innovation technology actually provides 2 to 3 times more jobs than it will take away. Because what they say is like with every new technology, even with the internet, when the internet came out, I think there was 2 or 3 new jobs that were created that we didn't even have existing prior to the internet. So yeah, I think we need to start talking about the opportunity that comes with technology and automation and the fact that we are going to find 2 to 3 different jobs every time we introduce a new technology, rather than talking about how many jobs we might be losing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's necessarily the case at all.
I don't think so. Now,
so you've been with your current company, Tecsys, for 26 years and counting. Now, that is a tenure we're seeing less and less of in modern workplaces. Talk to us about that journey. How did you evolve from analyst to VP, and what were your biggest challenges and achievements along the way?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sarah. It's a rare phenomenon these days in today's job market. But there's never a dull moment in supply chain. So all through the years, there was always something to learn, always a new trend to watch for, challenges to address. So it all kept me motivated and engaged. Of course, it helped that I was passionate about the job, you can see. But for anyone to stay so long in the same company, there need to be an alignment between your personal and the company values, of course. So in my case, it was integrity, professionalism, respect, and teamwork, and all that. Really, from the beginning, it was amazing to witness how the company was treating every employee with an indelible compassion. So that was what kept me here for so long. But remember, I played 7 different roles throughout the 26 years, and the first one was the longest. I stayed as a developer, I don't know how many years, but at the time I had 2 young kids, and my priority was my family, of course. But in each of these positions, I tried to make the best, learn the most, and, be consistent value giver. So trying to improve stuff and whatever. So I'm a process-driven person. And I love efficiency. So, and a few years ago, I went and got my Lean Six Sigma green belt. So thank you. So I've been continuously working on improving how we do things, doing them differently, and then putting new guidelines in place, standards, and so on. I can't say it was easy. There was always challenges. And I think it's the same challenges that you see in IT, where things are changing in such a rapid way that you have to keep yourself up to date all the time. So you learn all the time. So it wasn't easy, but it was really very rewarding. And recently Tecsys was, Tecsys earned the Great Place to Work certification in Canada, US and Europe. So I guess myself and many other Tecsys employees are a testament of that. We knew
Absolutely.
it before.
Yeah, one of the things I love about doing this series is learning about your journey and what is possible. There is a quote that I sort of live by: life is understood backwards, right? Like life is lived forward, but understood backwards. And you describing sort of your journey and what that looked like, and how there was a period of time where you stayed in one position so that you could have your family and enjoy some of the flexibility that you needed to be able to be part of that particular moment in time of your journey and your life. And then from there, being able to move into a variety of different positions that then landed you as VP. And it's important, I think, for all of us to understand what the different journeys can look like. And the fact is, if you spend a little bit of time in one particular role so that you can focus on family, does not mean that it's the detriment to the rest of your journey and what that means to you throughout your career. And so I appreciate you for sharing that, because it really is important. Sometimes we can only see what's in front of us. But if we learn from others and understand where we can be and what that can look like for us, I think it helps us in those moments where we're seeing just right here and the here and now.
Yes, definitely. And women can identify, because some people are always in this dilemma whether they go to work, they keep their children. It's normal, I think. So it's good to share that.
It is, yeah. So talk to me about how the industry has changed over that time. I mean, I don't want to age you too much, but I think you started in the 90s. I mean, I started in the 90s as well. So, but computers were massive boxes. We didn't really have cell phones. Only some people had them in their cars. And I think they were like bolted into the car, which I'll never understand. But we live in almost a completely different world now. What's your take on that evolution, particularly in supply chain?
Yes, so there's been a big shift, like big evolution, let's say. And I remember my first personal desktop. It was a big, beige, bulky box, the size of a microwave.
That's true. Do you remember having to move them off desks? If you had to move, like trying to move that thing, it was so heavy.
Heavy, exactly. And the iconic green letters on the screen. You remember that?
And the dial-up.
No, and now we have everything in the palm of our hands. Imagine, even our watches have more power. Imagine. So there's been major and significant changes in the industry, absolutely. And I love where it's going. All this new stuff. We spoke about automation. We can think about AI, the artificial intelligence, and how the role that it's playing, the predictive analytics, the helping with the forecasting demand, optimizing inventory levels, and so on. The cloud technology, which is also facilitating real-time data sharing and collaboration. And those are factors that help, like open new opportunities, of course. There's also the emphasis on sustainable practices, socially and economically responsible practices. And I think that's absolutely important nowadays. Waste reduction, carbon footprint management, and all that. I think it's really great. And what's my take on it, you're asking? I think it's cool to have a front row seat on this evolution and be an active player in the field.
Yeah, I don't think many people know what they're missing not being in supply chain. But if you're listening to this and you're not in supply chain, I mean, you have no idea what you're missing. You might want to check out this industry. So let me ask you then, how has the industry changed for women? Because there has historically been a lack of women in the industry, a lack of women in leadership roles. That's starting to change, especially with STEM programs in school. Proactive women like yourselves, but the stats are showing we've certainly not caught up yet. So how have you seen that evolve? What have you been happy to see?
Yeah, and I agree with you. We haven't caught up, but we've done a big leap forward, I think. We're seeing more and more women now in key executive positions and active contributors to decision making. So that's really great. And what I find commendable is the growing awareness of the need for diversity. So that in itself is encouraging for young women looking and aspiring to become and take those leadership positions. But it's really important to remember one thing. Securing a seat around the table is not just simply a matter of being given the opportunity. It's about earning it through dedication and hard work. Because, not every single opportunity comes to you on a silver platter. So you really have to work on yourself, stay committed to your personal and professional growth. And, it doesn't also mean that you have to change who you are. You can remain authentic, integral, humble, and still make it, And I want to highlight what you're doing, Sarah. What you're doing here, shining a spotlight on executives and successful women and exposing their stories. It's an important way to showcase role models that young women can look up to, and aspire to become like. So thank you for that. It's really great.
Thank you so much. I mean, it has been one of the pleasures of my career journey thus far, just being able to provide a platform. The whole reason why I started Let's Talk Supply Chain was to provide a platform to diverse voices to be able to be heard, right? Because we can't move forward without diversity of thought and diversity of perspective. And sometimes we just get into our little bubble of where we work and who we're surrounded by. But if we open it up and we listen to conversations like this and understand journeys like yours, and understand the art of what is possible, but also training ourselves to listen for other perspectives and ideas and innovations. That's how we grow. So I really appreciate that. It's not work to me. This is actually, so much fun for me. Now, also, you mentor women. So I'm, really interested in your take on some of the things that I do, because I talk a lot about mentorship. We've recently recorded a whole blended episode about it. And what's becoming more and more clear to me is how people's idea of mentorship is different, right? How mentorship changes over time, how mentor-mentee relationships look different. And we have to normalize what that looks like for different people, because I feel like people get caught up in, I need a mentor. If I don't have a mentor, I'm a failure, which is not the case at all, because you can have mentors in a variety of different capacities, and it's happening on a daily basis that you need to cut yourself some slack. But what's your take on the importance of mentorship and finding relationships that work for you?
So I watched that blended episode. It was a very interesting one, yes. And I really loved the perspective that each of your guests presented. I believe in the value of mentorship. So I think it's one way to empower the young people and shape the future leaders. So that's good. But if you think about it, anyone actively listening to you, giving feedback, answering questions, and can be considered a mentor. Whether it's your manager, your coworkers, your family, your friends, whoever that is, by they're sharing their experiences. And, it's the accumulation of these conversations, the events that you go attend, and whatever that pave the road to who you become. So let's call this ad hoc mentorship, okay? Because I want to come back to it. And to me, this ad hoc mentorship has as much value as the traditional approach, where you have a mentor-mentee relationship, as you mentioned, and that designated person who's always there helping you out. I think there's added value, though, in that. And maybe we should focus on that traditional approach for that relationship to be created and nurtured, because it gives you a structured framework in which that whole thing is happening. You have guided learning, you have networking opportunities that are opened by the mentor. There's access to industry insights and resources that otherwise you wouldn't have had access to. But also on personal level, that helps. It's not just on the career advice. Sometimes the mentors give you feedback on your communication skills, on your interpersonal skills, your leadership methods. You touched upon the behavioral aspect in your blended episode. And one of your guests mentioned code of conduct. That really resonated with me. I think having that mentor-mentee relationship is an environment in which those kind of advices can really happen. And bring valuable.
Yeah, and I think another part of that episode we talked about the importance of not putting all the onus on the mentor.
Yes.
Right? They're giving up their time. They're providing you with time and feedback, which is a very valuable thing to the mentee and vice versa, right? Because the mentee can also become the mentor because we talked about the importance of reverse mentorship as
Yes.
well. And so again, you can find mentorship wherever. But I think also it has to create value for both sides. So if you just ask somebody to be your mentor, they might say yes, but they're expecting you to do some work. They're not
absolutely,
they like there's got to be some work on that side if you're asking somebody to do something for you. And sometimes I have been asked to be a mentor and I've given them like a little task to do because that's my test. If you're going to do that task, then I know that you're in it and I know that you're committed, and then we're going to have some shared value.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, exactly. If the mentee is not ready to put time and effort on themselves, that, it doesn't go anywhere.
No.
And so it's both sides. I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, it starts with asking, but then it's the action that you take after that. Once they said yes. So if anybody wants to listen to that, you can find it at blendedpledge.org if you want to listen to that particular episode. But I am so glad you had some, takeaways from that episode. I feel like it's so important, especially when we bring a few different people together. So I'm glad to hear that. And thank you for listening to it. So I know that it's important to you because we talked about this a little bit earlier about balancing your professional achievements with community service and family. You talk about helping young women to balance their professional and social responsibilities as well. How do you do that? Why is that so important? And what's your take on work-life balance? I think I have a little bit of a different take, but I want to hear yours first.
Yeah. So actually, for me personally, volunteering and community service are important elements that help me achieve that balance between work and life. The overall happiness, the sense of fulfillment, and that well-being. But it's not necessarily the same for everyone. I think others can find it in nurturing their hobbies or coming up with physical fitness, prioritizing their physical well-being. What's important here, at least for me, because I was raised in a family where volunteering was not only important, it was almost a duty. So for me, it became like my leadership identity, part of my leadership, integral part of my leadership identity. And I think it's crucial for any executive who wants to be impactful to do some kind of volunteering. So, of course, there are benefits on a personal level, that sense of purpose, satisfaction, the overall benefit on mental health and all that. But there's also an important thing. We spoke about ad hoc mentorship earlier, you remember? So the volunteering is the ideal environment for that. You're meeting so many people, different backgrounds, different characters and personalities, and you're doing stuff that you wouldn't have done in your normal work. So that sharpens your leadership skills, and then it prepares you for complex roles. So I really encourage everyone to do some kind of volunteering if they can.
I love that. And getting used to it early in your career so that it's just a natural transition as you move through your career and through your life to be able to include some volunteering. And that could be in flux, right? You could give more hours at the beginning of your career. Then maybe when you have a family, you can pull it back and do only a few hours, and then you can go back to it. As long as you communicate it with the organization that you're volunteering with, everybody understands, especially with volunteer opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. It's time management after all, If you know how much time you have, how much time you want to give, and that's what it is. I'm sure it's appreciated. Whatever you do, organization would appreciate your time and your skills.
Listen, I mean, being a founder of a nonprofit, and we are like completely volunteer based. Anytime, any volunteers, anything that because I have a lot of people that have committed and then maybe they need to pull back for whatever reason. And they're like, I feel so bad. I'm like, no, you've done so much already. Take the time that you need, come back And give us your all when you're ready, because we're going to be there and we appreciate everything that you do. So now congratulations is in order because you're one of this year's Woman in Supply Chain Forum winners. You received a Trailblazer Award. What does being a trailblazer mean to you? What does this award mean to you? Talk to me about that.
Thank you so much. It's really a huge honor to be an award winner, Sarah. I'm really humbled to be recognized by the Women in Supply Chain Forum, especially in the Trailblazer category, And I understand that any award comes with responsibility. So now I consider it my duty now to lead by example, advocate for progress, set the example for others who would like to pursue goals in their lives, and empower them, encourage them, empower them. So that's what it is. I mean, Trailblazer for me is taking the path less traveled, do the things differently, try new stuff, and never assume that you have reached your potential, your full potential. There's always something you can do, there's always something you can learn, and always something you can give back. So just go out and try new things. Don't be afraid.
And nominate yourself for an award.
Yes, why not?
Right? Let's do it. We need to advocate for ourselves more. So last question for you. What does the future hold? Or do you maybe have any additional advice you want to share?
Well, no one knows what the future holds.
That is very true.
I wish I had a crystal ball. But I'm an optimistic person, so I'm sure there will be multiple possibilities to pursue, to grow personally and professionally, and making a positive impact on my surrounding, of course. Professionally, I'll continue with my team to optimize the automation journey, maybe making it more, let's say, reduce the automation implementation timelines. And of course, I'll remain active in my community and maybe work on initiatives that uplift and empower young women. We'll see. I'm sure it will be fun and exciting.
Oh, well, I can't wait. And I know that you've already given back so much to this community. And I can't wait to see what else you do for supply chain and innovation and automation and really like moving the industry forward. So it's been such a pleasure to get to know you. You're such a great example of women who might be unsure if supply chain is for them because you're passionate about innovation and efficiency and technology, but you're equally committed to social responsibility, mentoring, empowering others, sharing what you've learned. So you've really shown what both sides can look like. And I think a lot of women will be inspired by you today. So for all of you in the audience, did you have a guess at today's big question? Well, at the top of the show, I asked you, according to technical strategy and infrastructure expert Philip Rajley, what percentage of an organization's technology is made up of legacy systems? Well, it's a chunky 31%, but scarily a huge 60 to 80% of their IT budget is spent keeping them running.
Yeah.
So if you think an investment in a new system is too pricey, maybe you should think again. If you'd like to hear more from us at Let's Talk Supply Chain, we have plenty more content for you featuring the best and brightest in the industry. Head over to letstalksupplychain.com to check out the latest. And if you're looking for a solution to your supply chain challenge, put that keyword into the search bar and all of that content will come up. And remember to come back next week. I'm going to be joined by Tiffany of Blue Yonder to talk all about synchronizing supply chain execution. Annie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was great talking to you.